Welcome everybody. I'm Holly Sizemore, Chief Mission Officer for Best Friends Animal Society, and this is BG, my foster kitty and co-host. And we're here to talk about fostering today. Recently, on Some Good News, John Krasinski highlighted our friends at Palm Beach Animal Care and Control celebrating their empty kennels because they had adopted or fostered out so many animals. And John, we wanted to share with you that that's happening all across the country. We are seeing community members step up in ways we have never seen before, and dozens of shelters are emptying their cages and kennels because people are raising their hand and saying, yes, I want to foster and I want to adopt. So here's just a few examples of what we're seeing across the country. In Some Good News, Saving America's Pets style. Pinellas County Animal Services in Florida emptied out their dog and their cat kennels. Chicago Animal Care and Control, a really large shelter, has under 60 animals in their care right now. City of Baytown Animal Services, Friends for Life Animal Rescue in Gilbert, Arizona, Central Missouri Humane Society, Harlingen Humane Society in Texas, and many, many more are emptying out kennels and saving lives. And now I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to my awesome colleague and Senior Director of National Programs for Best Friends, Brent Toellner. So welcome, Brent. So nice to have you here. And I know you and I have been talking about these incredible stories that we're hearing throughout the country about incredible silver linings and life-saving that's still happening in America's shelters despite COVID, and how the community is really stepping up, how you, the public, is helping us save these lives in ways that we have never seen before. It's been so incredible. I've been hearing some stories. I want to share some, and then I know you have some great ones too. So one of the ones that was really cool that was on Facebook was posted by the Friends of Palm Beach County Animal Care and Control. That's one example. I know also in Riverside, California, Julie Bank, she just took on the executive director role there. Welcome, Julie Bank, to Riverside, California. And within 4 days, I think she was on day 4, she posted this video of the entire adoption kennel empty and her staff applauding that victory, and again credited their success to the community stepping up. So those are just a couple of examples. I know you have many more. You do a lot of work in Texas, right? And so tell us what's going on in the state of Texas.
And, as you know, Texas is one of the states that we at Best Friends emphasize a lot because it is one of the states with the largest life-saving gap. And so the work there is so important to our overall No-Kill 2025 goal that we've set forward. And so we have a lot of great partners down there that have similar stories to what you were just echoed. So San Antonio, Texas, which is a shelter that takes in nearly 25,000 animals a year. And they were reporting it last week that their shelter's at 60% capacity.
Wow.
Which never happens there. Like, they're almost always at full capacity and just struggling every day to keep up. And to be at 60% capacity is just an amazing feat. Similarly, El Paso, what they did their stay-at-home order, and they reach out to their public and just ask for fosters and adopters to come out. And almost immediately, they ended up with more than 1,200 animals that got put into homes, either through adoptive homes or temporary foster homes, because their community stepped up immediately for them.
Incredible.
And just like your example in Florida is, they credited the fact that their community really stepped up, and that it was a community approach to their life-saving efforts that makes it all possible. And I just think that's incredible. We've seen similar things too with our life-saving program in Houston. So our Houston team has continued their life-saving efforts through their transport program. A couple days ago, they posted a video on their page that was just showing how they're doing transport safely and doing curbside pickup of the fosters, that they can get them onto a van so they can minimize the human interactions but still get animals loaded up into the van. And they did 3 transports from Houston area shelters up north. One of them going to one of our partners up in Minnesota, Rough Start Rescue, who's just done an amazing job of getting animals out there in Minnesota. And then one in partnership with Rescue Pets Movement, who is a big transport group, RPM, down in Houston area. that did the transport to Colorado for us. And so it's just been an incredible um, way of seeing the organizations working together and creating life saving. And one of our partners down in the Houston area, Montgomery County Animal Shelter,
Mm-hmm.
they were reporting yesterday that they have 17 dogs on site.
Whoa.
17. So this is a shelter that usually has 400 dogs on site.
Yeah.
Uh, and they're just doing an amazing job of getting animals out and being able to save lives even during this time.
And I know in Houston, I remember the team saying, if we can't do these transports, those animals would be in danger of their lives being lost. And so to be able to figure out ways to do it safely, that's just really incredible. And we appreciate all of their work and all of the shelter personnel. Oh my gosh, everybody, you people who are still working in shelters and taking care of those animals every day, thank you so much for your hard work and your frontline dedication to saving animals' lives. We really appreciate all you're doing. So, Brent, this is so exciting to see. And yet I know we're starting to see the country open up a little bit again. Debate's still out on to how fast, where, when, and how. And I'm sure that will vary in individual communities for sure. But when you look a little to the future, how do you see us holding on to the momentum of what we're seeing here? Like, how do we keep some of this cool stuff happening post-COVID?
Obviously, this is a really terrible time in our history of what we're doing with the stay-at-home order. But at the same time, a lot of positives have come out of it. We've seen across the country a lot of shelters that never had a foster program that are starting foster programs for the very first time.
Yeah.
Um, and so they've invited the public to be a part of their solution. The public has stepped up to help. And so they're starting to see that in action, that when you ask the public for help, that they'll step up in ways you never even imagined that they could. And so that's really exciting. And I'm really hopeful that some of these places that have reached out to their community for the first time see how beneficial that can be and will continue to do that. And at the same token, I think some of these community members have never been asked before to help and be a part of the
Right.
solution. And so I really hope that a lot of them will continue to stay involved because it does take that collaboration between the community and the shelters to really drive that life-saving success. The other thing that I really have been excited to see is that there have been a lot, because shelters are trying to keep their populations down, they're doing a lot more work in um, trying to do managed intake and intake by appointment so they can have conversations with people and see if there are alternatives for a pet that might involve not coming into the shelter in the first place
Oh,
and
great.
really
Right.
spending that time that's necessary. And we found that to be really successful around the country. And it's really nice in this time that some shelters that may have been reluctant to do this um, are are having appointment-based programs that work and are showing an improvement for them in keeping animals in their homes versus coming into the shelter. And so I really hope that some of these people who are trying things for the first time see that they can try things and that they can succeed with them, or even if they don't, that's not necessarily a failure. You can scrap that program if it doesn't work and move on. And I think that creativity is going to leave us in a really good spot on the back end of this as we can continue to innovate programs that never even existed before. It's been amazing to watch some of these programs that we've talked about forever that are now getting implemented in new places, and I'm just really eager to see some of these things move forward.
Well, I love the way you think about it and the way you talk about it, because you're like, try it. If it doesn't work for you and your community, you can go to plan B. But it is really exciting to see some shelters that may have been a little bit reticent to adopt some of these programs. But many shelters have been doing these programs for a long time, right?
Yeah, a lot of them been doing them for a long time, and um, with great degree of success, and they've just continued to do it. But I think the energy around helping pets right now has been pretty enormous, and so it's been exciting to see them have so much success with it.
Yeah, and so really thank you to the community. Thank you to members of the public who stepped up to foster, to donate to your shelter, to help provide food for their food bank if they have one, because it's that kind of support that is really invigorating our shelter workers and letting them know that this is possible, not just in the time of COVID, but beyond. So thank you for everyone who supported your local shelter. And for those of you who haven't had the chance yet, we encourage you to reach out and ask your shelter what they need. Brent, thank you so much for being here and for everything you're doing. I know you've been working long and hard to help support our network partners and shelter partners all across the country, so thanks for your hard work.
Thanks for having me on.
Take care. If you have pictures of your local shelter's empty kennels, we would love to see them. You can send those to savingamericaspets@bestfriends.org. If you fostered or adopted during this crisis, please tell us about it in the comments. And to all you adopters and fosters, thank you for saving America's pets and keeping our shelter workers safe. Please hit like and subscribe, and remember, together we can save them all.